Hello, everybody, and welcome to Three Things I've Learned with me, Susan Dolci, where we share the stories that shift our souls. This is a show where we share true breakthrough stories from some really inspiring people, and hopefully you gain a new perspective from their personal experiences. It's important to me that you know that you are not alone, and so many of us experience the same heartbreaks and the same setbacks. We all have three things we've learned about love, about life, about luck, and that's the beauty in sharing our stories. So, full disclosure, my guest today is not only one of my best friends, but she's also changed so many women's lives with her message of personal empowerment and self-love. I wish I had had the three-step process she's going to talk to us about today back in 2013, when my youngest daughter, was a freshman in high school. I'm going to share my story, which didn't end as well. So, setting the scene. My daughter goes to a K through 12 school. We moved to a new community, so when she started at the school, she was in the third grade. And for 3 years, I did what I always did back in the town we lived in before. For 14 years, we were there a very long time. Anyway, I digress. So we moved to the new town, new school. I sign up to, head fundraisers, parent teacher ambassador, room parent, like all the stuff that I always did to make friends and to, get involved. So I did that for about 3 years. And it was a hard nut to crack. This was just not a social circle that was going to take a woman who I think I was like 45 at the time. I mean, think about it. When you're a woman in your mid 40s and trying to make new friends, that's just scary all around. Anyway, so I did it for like 3 years. And finally I said, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I felt kind of like I had been chewed up and spit out, and I was burned out. And I just said, no, I'm not going to play this game. Like, why am I doing this? And so I was very content to just walk away from all those activities. Fast forward to 2013. Now all of the 8th graders have graduated. And because it was a K through 12 school, some of them stay and some of them leave to go on to other schools in the community. But what that also meant was there a whole fresh crop of new students, new fresh meat to make friends with. So my youngest daughter said, Mom, you have to go to this mom's night out, the freshman mom's night out. Heavy sigh. Really? Yeah, Mom, you have to go. This is really important to me because, if you don't go and make friends with the new moms, they're not going to let me hang out with their kids. Heavier sigh. Ugh, I have to do this for her, right? I have to go and I have to be social. I have to put myself in a social situation that I hate, but it's important. And I get it. I mean, I understand, like, parents of teenagers, you want to know who they're hanging out with. You want to know the houses they're going to. You want to know their parents. So I understood it. So I said, okay, I'll go to this mom's night out. So I put my big girl panties on and I grabbed my bottle of Chardonnay and I got in my car and I drove over to the house, let myself in, put my bottle of Chardonnay next to all the other countless bottles of Chardonnay. And I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to navigate this situation because I don't want to be here. I didn't feel comfortable or, it was just not my social climate. So I thought, okay, food, right? I'll go over to the food table and I can always start a conversation over like, oh, this dip is delicious. Or, anyway, you get the point. So I grab my plate and I'm putting my crudité on the plate when one of the moms that I know very well, she held a lot of leadership roles in the school within the Parents Association and just with teachers and everything. So she sees me, and I haven't seen her in a very long time. And she says, Susan, I haven't seen you around lately. You never come to these things. Why are you here? I take a pause. I just sort of spew out a few words like, oh yeah, new moms wanting to get to meet the new moms and blah, 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 blah. But all of a sudden, in that second that she said that to me, why are you here? I felt like that shy girl in the high school lunchroom who was just told that she can't sit at the cool girls table, that I wasn't popular enough to be at this party. And just flooded with unworthiness and shame and I just didn't want to be there. But I was doing this for my daughter. So I knew I had an option. I either was going to find a quiet place in the corner and sit and write it out until it started to thin out and then leave, or I could just sneak out the door and just go. Well, I bailed. I couldn't do it. I was in full anxiety attack. I was like, why am I here? We'll figure this out. Like, I've got to go. I got in my car. I cried all the way home. It was just such a humiliating experience. Now, my guest today has a similar story about a triggering moment and feelings of unworthiness, but her story has a very different outcome than mine. Please welcome my guest today, Leone Dyer. Leone is an empowerment coach, a spiritual mentor, and creator of the Be Now program. She specializes in serving people who struggle with emotional eating. Leone has a degree in psychology. She is a certified Diamond Process transformational life coach, an educator, a Special Olympics coach, and a nature lover. She brings these foundations along with her own experience with low self-esteem, weight challenges, working in corporate America, and navigating family issues into her coaching practice. Welcome, Leone.
Oh, Susan.
It's so good to have you here.
Yeah.
I shared my story about how I bailed and how I didn't have any tools to manage through that situation. I was just, my fear, my flight mechanism took over and I ran out of there. So I know a little bit about your story, the story you're going to share, but I can't wait for you to share it with everybody else.
Okay, sure. I think we've all been in those situations where we want to just hide and or we get triggered and want to just escape. So several years ago, I was attending a fireman banquet with my husband, and he's a volunteer fireman, and my brother is as well. And so he approached me, and just we were discussing family stuff, and we have older parents, so we're all kind of taking turns taking care of them. And so he was just confirming with me, you're going to take them to this appointment, right? I'm like, yes, I can take them. And then he would, just to make sure, he's like, okay, because you have nothing, you're not doing anything. And I just got so triggered that he was confirming, no, you're okay to take them, right? You don't have any commitments. I heard, you are not worthy. Why are you doing what you're doing? Which I was at the beginning of starting my coaching business. I heard, you're not able to do this. You don't have the tools to do this. Now, he didn't say that.
Right.
That's what I heard. And I just stood there like, and I, I wanted to get angry, but, and I wanted to react, but this was not my evening. This was my husband's.
Yeah. So it was was it a event to what's the word I want? Was it like a fireman's ball? Did you say that? Was it like a
Well,
fireman's ball?
okay,
I know there's
let
a
me,
Marine Corps ball. I've been to a few of
no,
those, but like,
okay.
was
Okay,
it
well, let me just say it was a fireman banquet, but let me
banquet?
just
Okay.
put this. Do you remember the show Northern Exposure?
Yes.
Yeah, New York doctor goes to Alaska.
Hmm.
Okay, that's where I don't live in Alaska, but I live in a very remote area. So it was no ball, it was a banquet. Okay. But I knew that I knew that I needed to step away because I was getting more involved in the story in my head. I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. Why am I doing this? So the only place I knew to go was the bathroom.
Mm.
So I very quickly maneuvered my way to the bathroom. Now, I want to back up a few years prior to this. Prior to this happening, probably a good 20 years of my life, I refer to it as my ship show years. Um, I was not in a good state. I hated myself. I didn't like who I was. I didn't like me.
Mm.
I didn't like my life. Um, I didn't have a great connection with my true self at all. And during this whole time, I was getting married, I had children, we built a beautiful house, had my dream job, but I was miserable.
Mm.
And so I started down this road of finding me and finding my values. And so with all that, and I also had started doing, I went to the Diamond Process Coach training, which I got to meet my lovely Susan. And so on the way to the bathroom, I'm taking them all with me. So all my teachers, all my gurus,
Mm.
they're all coming with me. And we all go into the stall, everyone. So, I have Leonard Jacobson, Eckhart, Buddha, Jesus, my beautiful teacher, Veronica, my love hate Jason. I don't love hate him. I mean, we
I
just
just
have,
I
he's
envision
my,
like I just have this total visual of all of us like standing like in the bathroom, like
and we all
and
walk in.
yeah, and like they all walk in and then you're sitting and like you're in the stall.
Yes, it was an entire parade of 20 people and me in the stall. And each one, do you remember going through driver's ed? You had your driver's seat, like the driver's seat,
Hmm.
and then next to you was the instructor's seat. And I I was in the driver's seat,
Hmm.
and each person, each guru, each teacher, each mentor was taking their turn next to me, guiding me through. And I
On the
totally,
toilet next to you.
on the
And
toilet right next to me. No, we were all in the same stall. I was on the toilet, they were standing there. Yeah, we were all there. And I don't even know, really, to be honest. Like sometimes you catch yourself talking out loud. Like you don't know you're speaking out loud, but you're in the grocery store and you're like, oh shoot, I need milk.
especially when you're triggered by something.
Right. So
Right.
I could have been in that stall talking out loud. Like I have no clue. Like I cannot believe this. I am so unworthy. Why? So I walked myself through with the guidance of everyone I had, like all the tools um, from their from their teachings through what is now my Be Now program, and it 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 calmed me down enough to walk back out into the banquet room to just be a support to my husband, where he didn't have to be a support to me,
Hmm.
where I could enjoy the evening, I could enjoy my brother, where I
Wait,
was.
wait.
Mm,
You can enjoy your brother.
yeah, I well, okay,
That's huge. That's I
that's
mean from
yeah,
to go from being triggered by you like I can think of all the expletives that we would share, but to go from I can't believe you just said that to me, like my time doesn't mean anything to That's a
Right. Right.
that's a huge leap.
Right. Well, and in all honesty, he didn't say my time was not valuable.
I know.
He
I'm in your
he
unworthy head. And
it
so
was
I get
in
it.
my right. So when we don't feel worthy, or when we feel negative about ourselves in any aspect, we are constantly looking out there for signs that say, "Yep, here it is. You're not worthy," or "Yep, here it is. You're a miserable person," or whatever your trigger is.
Mhm.
Um, and or you're not being heard, or your words don't mean anything, or what. And he simply and he was coming from a place also where he needed to make sure that my parents were being taken care of. He
Mhm.
needed that off his plate as well, like he, to clear that. So yeah, I was able to literally, as you said, put on my big girl panties. I opened up that stall, I said goodbye to everyone, left them in there, and I walked out into the banquet hall. And it was such an empowering moment for me, immensely. And as an emotional eater, I would have bellied up to that banquet and table, and just eaten my way through my emotions.
Well,
And
and
I
like you were just saying too, the what I find so fascinating about when we get triggered by stuff is that uh, it's always somebody else's voice that we hear. Like it's not the person who triggered you. So
right.
it wasn't necessarily, like you said, he wasn't doing it on purpose. He wasn't trying to, incite you or get you riled up. Like you said,
Mhm.
he just wanted to take it off his plate. But it's always somebody, it's like, it wasn't his voice, but whose voice was it? And then you go back and you go back to that
Mhm.
original,
Mhm.
when did you first feel unworthy? It's the whole
Mhm.
coaching thing. But that always blows my mind that, because I still do that to this day. So if my husband will say something and I'm like, I kind of bristle and I'm like, okay, that's not him. That's my ex. So we're not going to put that on him. That's my problem to take on.
Exactly. And
Mm.
sometimes it's not even if it is your ex, those might be the exact words like that your ex would say.
Mhm.
It's really the story in your head on how you react to that statement, or to that attitude, or that. Because if it was someone else, you could let it go.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And so yeah, I enjoyed my brother that evening, and I was able to be calm, and I went home and I'm like, holy cannoli, I need to write this down because this is good. And I'm gonna, in all disclaimer, it was not me. I mean, I was just open to receive
Mm.
it. And it was at the right time for me to take that in. And yeah,
And so, yeah, it was like, how do I bottle it and sell it?
how do I bottle it and sell it? Right. Right. And I kind of tried it out at first, like with some of my earlier clients, like I wonder if this is going to work. And because you try it out on your family and they're just um and it like, wow, okay. And and through the years, I've it has become what it is now, the program.
Yeah, which we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to take a break, not yet, but I want to go into the steps that you came up with as you were sitting on the toilet with grace.
Yo.
um, but the one of the things I wanted to touch on was that, like when you said all of your teachers, all of your spiritual
Mhm.
mentors and your teachers and coaches and everything that you've read and listened to and studied under it, like it's so easy to, I mean, you've got this massive toolkit, right?
Mhm.
If you think about it, like of all the different tricks and tools to help our clients. And you're always, I mean, for me anyway, I'm always kind of like, well, is this, is this person's tool? Is that person's tool? I don't want to copy that person's um, program. And like just recently, I find myself like I've been able to do what you did, like kind of hone it down to the the tips and tricks and tools that I feel really work with clients. So yeah.
And I don't think, and I don't, I mean, I understand, like with the whole copyright, and you don't want to take anyone's words and make them yours. I think we are given these gifts of
Mm,
knowledge. And if you, for us to share, I mean, for us to lend out to the next person, and using the metaphor of a driving school, that, and I'm not going to embarrass myself by pretending I know how to do this, but when you parallel park, you pull your car up next to the car, and you, like, I don't know, get the mirror next to the door or something.
yeah, that's
I do
about
not
right.
parallel park, but that trick.
Yeah,
But right, people know that came from someone, and
right,
now people use that. And I think all these tools that we're hearing, it doesn't matter who it is. I mean,
right.
Jesus, Buddha, they're all, Lena Jacobson, they're all saying the same
Same
thing, but
thing.
it's just in a different flavor. It's
Right.
just in a different tone. And, you know, not everyone likes pepperoni pizza. So they're giving, I totally believe that the divine has given us different ways of receiving this information.
Mm.
And it's how we use it. And I apparently am a really slow learner, and I like my supreme pizza because I had to take them all with me, you know.
Well, yeah, and it's always like um whenever like this show or a video or all of the great shows that are on Transformation Talk Radio, they reach all sorts of different people because you've got like uh people connect. Certain people will connect with me, certain people will connect with other hosts, and it's just you get this, it's meant to be sort of like divine pairing. And it's just amazing, and I think it's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the 3 magic steps
Mhm.
for your Be Now program. You're listening to 3 Things I've Learned with Susan Dolci, and we are here with Leone Dyer, and we'll be right back. We're back. This is 3 Things I've Learned with Susan Dolci. My guest today is Leone Dyer, who is talking with us about her 3-step process for managing triggering moments. But before we get into the 3 steps, the 3 things, can you tell our listeners where they can find you?
Oh, sure. LeoneDyer.com.
And no social media. I know you
I
have social media.
I do. I am, but if you go to my websites, and all the links are there. I'm on Instagram, Leone Dyer Coach, and Leone Dyer on Facebook.
Okay, thank you for that. So to recap, if you're just joining us, so Leone was at a fireman's banquet, not a ball.
No. No, no, no.
Was triggered by a very, dare I say, innocent comment by her brother. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Immensely.
No malice intended, but was completely overwhelmed with feelings of unworthiness. Yeah? Is that a good?
Immensely. Yes.
Immensely.
Yes.
And so then Jesus, Buddha, Eckhart Tolle, and Leonard Jacobson walked into a bathroom with Leone.
Along with the other 18 closest friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you came up with your signature Be Now program.
I did.
Yes.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about that. Like what is that what are just a few tricks? Like what,
Mhm.
I know it's not the whole system, but just a few things that we can maybe take with us and when we're feeling triggered.
Sure. The yes, I'm going to give you a little Reader's Digest version of the program, the Be Now program, and this is to be done if you can do this on a regular basis. Like if you can practice this, when you get to that moment of being triggered, it just comes like it comes back to you. You
Mm.
know it. It's like you know you just know, and so you don't have to think it through. So the first is breathe. Breathe. So you just simply breathe in and breathe out. And there's
Yes.
no, you can, breathe into the nose, out through the mouth. You can, do the, you know, breathe in 7 and hold what does
K-
not matter. Just
Do you
breathe
know how,
in,
like,
breathe out.
whenever anybody says breathe, then you do realize that you really haven't been breathing?
Just breathe. Right.
That, you know what I mean? Like, then you're like, oh,
Hmm.
I have been holding my breath.
Or yeah, breathing is such an important part of our life. um, so no, first step is to breathe. Breathe in, breathe
Okay,
out.
we're
Take a
breathe.
good deep breath, breathe, and just keep breathing. And in that, you're literally going to hit the pause button on the story that's in your head. So imagine a TV or a video and you're hitting the pause. It's just everything kind of just stops and you're continuing. You're running to the bathroom, you're coming back. It's it's no longer playing.
Mm.
And that is what we're doing. You're pausing the story in your head. You're allowing all other components, your soul, your body, your mind, to
Mm.
all be together. So that's the first, breathe. The second step is love. And this love is where you respect and honor yourself because we so much want to beat ourselves up in those moments. We want to, oh, it's my fault, or we want to blame someone else for not valuing
Mm.
us. So you are the person who respects and honors you. So a quick way of doing this also, I'm totally into using both sides of the brain and moving to allow us to remember. So with breathing, you're breathing in and out. With love, simply put your hand on your heart,
Mm.
or if you, when you practice, and you feel your heartbeat. This is you. This is you. There's no one else. This is you. The story in your head, that's not you. This
Mm.
is you, your heartbeat. That's it. And then the last is embrace. And embrace embrace your confidence, embrace the qualities that you were given. You have them. So in order to amplify that, just if you can, I don't know if you can see, you raise your arms and just accept all that the source, all that the divine has given you.
It's beautiful.
And then that's it. You were born complete. You were born with all the tools you needed to accomplish this. So when you are actually triggered, when you're driving in the car and someone cuts you off, now you're not going to sit there. You might breathe, hopefully, but you're not going to go through all the motions of holding your heart and putting your arms out. But you can completely breathe. Okay, I'm pausing. Why, it's the story in my head. He cut me off. I am worthy. I'm okay. Whatever his story is, that's his story.
Mm.
That he felt he needed to cut you off.
Mm-hmm.
Love and honor you. That's your job. Love and honor you. You are, this is, yeah. And then just accept the tools that you have been given. And those are the 3 simple tools: breathe, love, and embrace.
Embrace. That's awesome. Yeah, when we were talking about being cut off, I think one of the things about triggers that, um, because we're triggered, because, our story is taking over. A lot of times our brain chemicals are taking over, whether it's anxiety or fear or whatever. And we forget that, let's say if it was a person, like I was mentioning your brother, that they're not, there's no malice on their part most of the time. I mean, sometimes somebody will be a jerk and cut you off, but a lot of times it could be, I don't know. I play this game with myself. I'll be like, okay, I don't know, maybe they had a really bad day. Or here's one of my favorites, using the same car analysis, or analogy. If I'm behind somebody who's really slow and I'm in a hurry, I tell myself, okay, there must be a reason God is putting this slow person in front of me to protect me from something I would, potentially get hurt, or something that I need to slow down. I need to take a moment. And I think that, I know for me, that always helps, is to try and relate to the person who's triggered me for some reason, and it's because like you said, it's my trigger. It's my story. They don't know anything about it half the time, right?
And the most amazing thing when you about our stories is we're entering in the middle. Entering in the middle of everyone else's story, other than a newborn baby. Like their story is starting, but they're entering in the mother and the fathers and everyone else's in the middle of their story. And when we meet, so the person who cut us off, his story and our story have met. And with my brother, his story and my story were meeting at the same time. And so that, it's just, I find that fascinating. Like now I'm like analyzing, like, I wonder what this story is. I wonder where I'm meeting, like, yeah.
Well, and when we were prepping for the show, we were chatting about this a little bit, you said too, like, we also forget that the person who triggered us has their own triggers.
Oh, yes.
Right? Like, they're just like, we look at them and they're like, oh, you just triggered me and you're this thing. And like, but they have their own story. Like, you guys grew up side by side in the same household, but you have a completely different set of things that set you off from things that set your brother off.
100%. Yes. And I don't know if he has the unworthy gene that I have, but I don't know. But yes, I mean, we all, and events that have happened that upset him, I'm like, oh, come on, get over it. Just get over it. It's, but that's what has triggered him. Yeah.
Yeah. And if he told you just to get over it, you'd have a few expletives to share with him.
Yeah. Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The last time, I will say, I was in college. He's 7 years younger than me. And the last time that we actually had a physical fight, I was home from college, my freshman, like it was Christmas break. And my mom was on the phone, and you remember the 70s shag carpets?
Oh yeah.
So we were in the living room and we both had each other in a headlock. And we knew that if either of us let go, the other one would drag our face across that shag rug.
What color was it? Olive green?
Oh, it was
orange?
No. It was that gold with the brown. And yeah. God bless my sister-in-law. She came in and took that out.
So, the static from that stuff too. That was
But,
so I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to, so we all have, I mean, while we all have our own triggers, we're entering into those triggers in the middle of another story happening, in the middle of their story. So his story is, he's taking, he has a job. He's trying to survive. He's trying to keep up with his clients. He has a family that he's taking care of. He just needed to make sure that mom and dad was okay. And he hit me at a point where I was very weak, thinking, I can't do this coaching thing. So somebody come and tell me I can't do it. And even though that's not what I really wanted to hear. So,
yeah. Triggers.
But But if we use them as, as our teacher says, Veronica, you know, they're our treasures. They're our gift.
Yep.
Sometimes we don't want them and we want to return them. Go stand in the return line with our slip. But yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break. You've been listening to Three Things I've Learned with Susan Dolci, and my guest today is Leone Dyer. And when we come back, I want her to talk about the magic pill. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Three Things I've Learned with Susan Dolci. I'm here with Leone Dyer, an empowerment coach. She specializes in working with people who struggle with emotional eating. And before we went into break, I mentioned that we were going to talk about the magic pill. And I know it's like when you hear magic pill, like me personally, I always get annoyed when people think that there's like a pill that can fix everything, right? Because it's just not that. You have to do the work. You have to put in the time. You have to heal the wounds. You have to do the work. There is no such thing as a magic pill. However, there is kind of a spiritual and emotional coaching magic pill. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So, right, as an emotional eater, when my brother had triggered me, I would have eaten my way through every emotion. I'm not worthy. I needed someone to soothe me, to comfort me, to make me feel better. So, I would have, sure. I would have eaten everything and then felt like crap afterwards and beaten myself up again.
Mm-hmm.
So, I joke that the magic pill, so you can, you take a magic pill that allows you to, eat everything. It's not true. You take a magic pill so you don't have to eat your way through your emotions. So by acknowledging the emotions rather than eating your way through them, the magic. And it's hard because we eat to cover the pain. We really, as an emotional eater, I don't want to deal with something. I would eat. And when or it doesn't even have to be a negative emotion. Food is everywhere. And that's the hard part. When you are an emotional eater, food is everywhere. So from a very young age, we're taught that, oh, you did great in school. Let's go get an ice cream. Or or you didn't win the Little League game. Let's stop and get an ice cream. So there we have, that ice cream is soothing your ego in two ways. Like, I'm a great kid. Oh, bummer. I didn't win. But ice cream made me feel better. So you just adapt that mindset. And then there's a whole completely other aspect of emotional eating where when you start to feel good about yourself, that doesn't feel comfortable because you don't know what that is. You want to feel miserable because that's the comfort zone for you. And that's an odd thing to acknowledge. So we eat more because that's where we feel miserable. Like the more you eat, you get in that cycle. You eat to feel good, then you beat yourself up, then you eat because you're beating yourself up. And so it's that cycle. Yeah. And so the magic pill is simply the Be Now program.
Like you said, you can have the pizza and the chocolate cake and it's all okay.
Well,
not literally.
Yes.
Right.
You can. You can, yeah, sure, have a piece of chocolate cake at the birthday party and have a piece of pizza at I don't know, when you eat pizza. But just don't eat, don't eat it because you're upset. Eat it because you're enjoying the company of others, and it's food.
Yeah. Well, and for most people, if it's not food, it's something else, right?
Oh, sure. I mean,
It's alcohol,
that,
it's
shopping,
shopping,
sex,
scrolling.
schooling. Yeah, it's just gaming.
Oh,
Anything that takes us away from what we're actually feeling is the yeah. Mine just happens to be food, and that's yeah.
we're going to take one more quick break. When we come back, Leone's going to tell us again where we can find her on Three Things I've Learned with Susan Dolci. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to Three Things I've Learned with me, Susan Dolci. Today, we've been talking with Leone Dyer. She's an empowerment coach. She's the creator of the Be Now program, her signature coaching program. So, Leone, where can we find you again? Where can people come and see you and sign up for sessions? And what have you got?
Sure. LeoneDyer.com. And I'm on Instagram, Leone Dyer Coach, and Facebook, Leone Dyer.
And she's amazing, guys. So you should totally go check her stuff out. Because I mean, not just because she's my friend, but because she really, but because she really is like just an incredible human. So today we talked about your toolkit for moving through triggers, your breathe, love, embrace, and using those three simple skills to just get through the moment, right? And to understand that it's where the trigger came from and moving through it and letting it go on the other side. So this is how I like to wrap up my show a little bit, is if you could put your three things in one sentence about triggers, what would you say? One sentence, you get you get a lot of words. How would you how would you sum up your three things?
About triggers.
Oh, it doesn't have to be about triggers. It could be about emotional eating, what are your three things?
That I was going to say that all humans are seeking love, regardless of where they're coming from. We're entering in the middle of everyone's story, and we all have the tools to empower ourselves to reach that love and peace.
That is so true. And just, yeah, I wish that, that's sort of why I wanted to do this show, is to let people know that they're not alone out there, and that we all are kind of, all of our stories are colliding, right? And why aren't we sharing those stories so that we know that we're all in this together, right?
For sure. And we're all trying to seek the same thing.
For sure. So thank you, Leone. Thanks for listening to Three Things I've Learned with Susan Dolci. For more information on how to mentor with me, you can go to my website at susandolci.com, where you can sign up for a free 30-minute discovery session. You can also sign up for my monthly newsletter, where I have featured content and upcoming events. And I just want to say again, thank you, Leone. This has been great.
Thank you.
I love you.
I love you. Thank you.
We all have a story to tell. We can live in the story, or we can transform the story. It's your choice. Change your story. Change our world. #Storyfield. Thanks, everybody.